Okay, sorry about that. My phone got cut off there. So I was talking about Kid Nicky. Said it's better than Bad Dudes. It's just a nice, cool, early looking NES game. I love early NES games that are like just using what they can with like the early mapper chips. I don't even know if this used an advanced memory mapper. A memory mapper, there was like 5 memory mappers to do more things. I added more memory to the cart uh, to do than what the standard cart could do. So yeah, Kid Nicky, cool game. Kirby's Adventure, late NES game. I beat through it a few times. I don't love Kirby's Adventure, but every time I play it, I'm amazed by how much is going on in this game. Just like to take the powers, to do the different abilities, the levels, the color, everything about it. It's just so beautiful and so important of a game too. Kirby's Adventure is a game that really started the series. I like a lot of the other Kirby games better. I never had this one growing up. Didn't play it until much later. Didn't rent it or anything. When this game came out, I was playing Super Nintendo stuff. I remember the commercial, but it's a great game. Started the series off right after Kirby's Dream Land on Game Boy. This was the first one he could use his powers. Very colorful game. Oh boy. Legacy of the Wizard. I was talking when my phone died. I didn't realize it died. I was talking, going on and on about this game. It'll be hard to reproduce that, but great game. One of my favorites. My friend had this game as a kid. We never knew how to play it, but there was something about it. As grown up, in my 40s, I finally beat this game. I beat it twice now. If you like Zelda, if you like Battle of Olympus, if you like Faxanadu, Crystallis, those kind of action games. Give this game a chance. It's just so unique. It's from a series called Dragon Slayer. This is actually called Dragon Slayer 4, the Drassel family. Drassel stands for Dragon, DR Slayer, Soul, SLE, SLY, I should say. So you start as a family, the Drassels. This is by Falcom, published by Broderbund over here, by the way. Each character in the family has different abilities. The dad has like ability to move blocks by jumping and holding left or right. He'll move it in that direction. There's a whole part of his dungeon with his soundtrack by Yuzo Koshiro that tells you when you're in this dungeon. Each character has their own like dungeon theme. Amazing music, and you use that ability to move blocks in his area. The mother can fly. The daughter can jump super high. The pet Pokey is immune to enemies, so he can walk through enemies. If you want to scout ahead, you can look through the dungeon with his to see without fear of getting hurt. Just an amazing game. The labyrinth of this game is just huge. It dwarfs Zelda 1's map. If you do start this game, read the manual, and maybe if you want, look up how to play, like some just to getting started, what all the items do, because there's a big item list in this game. And when you start the game, so basically your house is on top of the main dungeon. You start the game in the family's house, and you pick from a menu of items to take with you. One's like a warp to warp you out of the dungeon. One's like a glove. One's like there's other items you can use. I forget offhand. There's quite a few, and it can be overwhelming. Read the manual, learn how to play it, and don't be afraid to like watch a little video to how to get started. Don't spoil too much, but just at least read the manual. It explains very much how to play the game. Just an amazing game. I was really sucked into this when I first played it. One of my favorites now on the NES. I played it at my friend's house. We didn't know how to play it then. I'm glad I stuck with it and sat down and learned how to play it. One of the best NES experiences I've ever had beating was Legacy of the Wizard. And that soundtrack is just one of the best of Yuzo Koshiro's illustrious career. Legacy of the Wizard is a top game on NES. And I hope out of all these games I'm playing here, this is probably one I would stress that you give a chance and stick with. There'll be a few, but this is probably on the top. But I can't say the same for the next game, Ghost Lion. Okay, at first I played this. It's like Dragon Quest top down. They rename the experience. They rename your HP to be like will. They rename your magic to be hope or something. Your level to be something else. That's fine. Different words for those. But the thing that makes this not fun for me was most in Dragon Quest games, you fight, you gain experience, you get stronger, you gain levels, you get stronger. That's not how you gain levels in this game. To gain levels, you have to find items in chests. I forget what it's called, but that's how you get stronger. So you have to explore to find your levels. That's fine, but the encounter rate is really high. So when you're fighting all these battles, you're not getting anything except money for them. So you get confused in a dungeon. These dungeons get more labyrinthy. You're going back and forth fighting all these battles. You're not getting anything for them. And if you miss your chance to get the items in a chest to upgrade your levels, then you're in trouble. You can't gain your levels any other way. It gets very monotonous. Other than that, the graphics are fine. The story's kind of cool. There's a white lion who like killed your family, and you got to go slay it. But there's a little twist at the end, I believe, involving your parents. I can't remember exactly what it was. I started playing it uh, uh, real, not mapping or anything like that. And near the end, I just looked up a map because I wanted to find out where those were at because the encounter rate was really bad. And I don't mind a bad encounter rate if you're getting experience for the levels because you're getting stronger, you can kill the enemies easier. But man, besides the cover, and some of the soundtrack was okay, except for the battle theme. The battle theme was so monotonous in this game, and you heard it over and over again. I can't recommend this game, only for a curiosity. Um, but I finished it, even though I cheated and looked at maps. But I don't like to do that. But for that game, man, I just wanted to get it done with. Legendary Wings. This is a cool overhead side-scroller hybrid shooter by Capcom. I don't know if it was an arcade game or not, but the premise is you're like this angel with wings. You can shoot on the ground to uncover like hidden bonus areas, and you want to do that because that's how you upgrade your lives, and you get some power-ups and such. So you can power yourself up to have a stronger shot and also take more hits. You want to do that because this game is a one-hit death otherwise. There's also places where this big mouth comes out. You can see him right there, and he'll suck you in, and that's a side-scrolling area as well, and it's kind of a real dangerous area that you want to get out of. You can avoid getting sucked in, but it's kind of difficult. The music is really cool in this game too. Obviously, Capcom has great music. Really cool shooter. If you like shooters, this is a really cool one. I always remember seeing this one. Never played it like a lot of these games until much later. Most of these games I got um, when I used to work in at a game store. I bought a lot of these while I worked there, and they were pretty cheap. So I'm just getting around to them now, and these ones I'm talking about in these few videos here on my shelf are ones I actually played through and beat. And Legendary Wings is one I'm glad it didn't get scared off by it being a shooter. And hopefully I can play more shooters coming up for the NES as I experience uh, get more brave in that genre. They've always scared me, shooters, for some reason, like space shooters and such like that. Little Mermaid on NES. This is a game, I like the Capcom Disney games. This is probably one of my, other than Magic Adventures in a Magic Kingdom, this is probably a lower one on the NES Capcom games for me, Disney games for me. Not that it's bad. I mean, I like the Little Mermaid. It was the first Disney movie I ever saw, I believe. Um, my friend sister had this game, or my friend had this game because his sister was a big Disney fan, and I played it there. I remember it being okay, and it's just, to me, it's okay. It's not bad. It's just your aerial. You swing your little tail, and you can shoot a bubble, and you can power up that bubble by opening chests with shells, and it gets faster and a little. I think it gets more powerful, and you get shoot more bubbles, and the bubbles like shoot the sea creatures and stuff in like bubbles, and you could grab them and throw them at enemies. And you can also dig those up chests. You get those from the chests to upgrade. And you can dig. There's like hidden things in the sand that you can dig with your tail. It's not bad. It's pretty easy, but it's not like brain dead easy. Like you do die, and it's a good game for a kid. But out of all the Disney games on the NES, it's down there with Magic Kingdom for me. It's not bad. I just don't love it. I never feel the need to replay it. So that said something. A lot of these games I could pull down, Disney games, Capcom Disney games I could replay. Not Magic Kingdom or that one. Oh man, Little Nemo the Dream Master is a game my friend, same friend who had the Little Mermaid, had this game. The music in this game is really good. The graphics are really good. It's such a neat concept. You're like in the dreamland and you have to collect these keys, and each level has like 6 keys or so, and you have to use animals in dreamland. You feed them candy, they go to sleep, you jump inside their skin and you fly around as a bee, or you climb as a monkey, or you dig as a mole. A lizard, you can climb on walls, and all kinds of cool concepts. And it's basically a scavenger hunt for keys. And the music while it's playing is so great. The train music, do 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 do, like all the music in this game is just fantastic. I think it's a train music. It's like da 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 da. Really good soundtrack in this game. It does get very hard. The last level is a gauntlet. Man, and you finally do get a ranged weapon in the form of a wand that you can charge and shoot, and you need to use that on the last boss and this penguin in that level. Unlimited continues, I believe, but some of the later level, the final level, is pretty brutal. But it's just such a cool game. It is hard, but it's unlimited continues. You can get through it if you like it enough. Man, that soundtrack though. Do 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 do. Oh boy, I was talking about Bayou Billy earlier. Here's one that actually did nail the multi-concept of shooting, fighting. This is Lone Ranger, based on a 50s TV show. Probably my dad or a lot of baby boomers played or watched. Has Silver the horse. Has what's his name? Tonka? Tonto, that his Lone Ranger's Indian friend. So it has a top-down like RPG map. It has like side-scrolling levels where you shoot. It has a first-person zapper stage where you control your movement with the controller and you shoot with the zapper. So you hold the controller in your left hand and shoot with your right hand, or vice versa if you're left-handed. Really cool. The light gun sections are cool. The side-scrolling's really good. It's Konami. It controls well. The music's good. Just a cool game that nobody really talks about. It's worth playing, worth trying. It's a Konami game that's under the radar. And I'm really glad I finished this. I have memories of finishing it, my parents' old house in the basement, and my dad came down and was watching me a little bit because he I think he watched The Lone Ranger as a kid, but he actually sat with me and watched me play it. I don't know if he cared about it, but I'd like to think that, Lone Ranger, he watched it. Maybe he was a little interested in it. Probably not, but it's cool. If you can't, this is a game that I think if you like Konami games, you never heard of Lone Ranger, give this one a shot. Another cool hybrid game is Magic of Scheherazade. That's by, I think it's Culture Brain. I don't know if they developed it or just published it. I'm not sure. But this is a cool hybrid top-down, almost Zelda adventure action RPG mixed with turn-based battles. And you have like genies or magical people that you can summon to do your work for you as your party members. So as you go through, you go to towns, and you talk to these people and you learn where to go. Then you go on the overworld and you fight monsters, like top-down fighting, like Zelda or Arkista's Ring, or what's another top-down NES action game? Something like that, adventure game, but like a top-down action game. And then you go, there's random battles, and there's dungeons, and there's random battles in those dungeons that you go into a completely different, turn-based combat, which is kind of cool. I didn't love the game. It's very, after a while, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Let's move along. But it was kind of cool, a cool concept that I'd never really seen a lot, with random battles mixed with action, top-down action. Really cool. You go through like dream doors and stuff. It's a cool like setting too, like Arabia, I think. Really cool. There's like time travel, if I remember. Next up, Mega Man 1. My Mega Man 1's seen a bit better days. See, it's all torn up. I didn't play this one until much later. Capcom's first attempt to make a console developed, their console division, make an actual console game for the NES. Before then, they all ported stuff like 1942. Section G was a port, but they had, little more to that. But this was their first original IP, I believe, that they wanted to make for console games only, and not port something from the arcade with little changes. And it was a very successful. I still like this one. I like this one a lot because it's a lot more simple than the other ones. There's no E-tanks. You only have 6 bosses. It's just simple. Which moved on to the first Mega Man game I ever played. Oh, they're out of order. Mega Man 2. I think a lot of kids my age, I'm 44. A lot of kids my age, played Mega Man 2 first. Great game. Has some problems, like the crash bomb level where you got to use against the wall. I never get that the first time, and then I run out of crash bombs. Just great game, great soundtrack. And that moves on to Mega Man 3. I didn't own these games. These are all when I played at my friend's house. Mega Man 3, great game, great soundtrack. I think they said it was kind of unfinished, and I kind of see that, like with when you beat the first 8 Robot Masters. You kind of go into like the Doc robots, and they're kind of like reused levels with like the Doc robot comes down in the Mega Man 2 bosses, and I wish they didn't look like Doc Robot. I wish they looked like Mega Man 2 bosses instead. There's one part in this game where you have to fly across on Rush Jet in a Doc Robot stage, and if you take the energy and you die, you can't make it unless you farm, so I always end up just killing myself and then trying it again. Mega Man 3 is a classic, though, and it ends the trilogy, and at the end, it's kind of cool how it goes through all of Dr. Light's robots in order, counting from Mega Man 3 all the way back to 2 and then to 1, and they're numbered. And it's kind of you walk back like in Mega Man 2. And the soundtrack in this game is great. A lot of people my age, flip between Mega Man 3 and 4 as their favorite. I like all the Mega Man games, but I kind of like Mega Man 4 a lot after recently replaying it, all these games. I like Mega Man 4 quite a bit. Mega Man 4 adds the charge shot. Mega Man 3 added the slide, and I like the charge shot a lot. A lot of people don't. They added a lot less problems. Like Mega Man 2 had the problem with the wall, where you ran out of you had to farm item energy to do the wall. They removed that. They don't have that problem with like the rush jet of Mega Man 3 going across that pit and running out. It's just more. It seems like more or less BS stuff. Not to say Mega Man 2 and 3 had a lot, but they kind of just, I think each Mega Man game they kind of improved, and they're minor improvements. They do make it more, almost not fair, but more, yeah, I could say more like less BS into it. Mega Man 4 is one of my favorites. It's a good soundtrack too. And that moves to Mega Man 5, another good one. They drop a lot of lives in this one, which is fine. They have a cool like little side like scrolling part in like the water part where you ride Rush Marine, and there's like a scrolling like sea that takes up part of the screen and it scrolls. Mega Man 5 is another good one. Again, they improve on it. The graphics in this one are top notch, man, with really, really good. They still have the Buster. I think they changed the way the Buster works in this one from 4. I'm not 100% sure, but I think in one of them if you're charging, you lose your shot when you get hit. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to replay it, but Mega Man 5 is great. Another continuation of Mega Man series. These were coming out like annually then. So the only ones I played as a kid were the ones my friend had. Mega Man 2, 3, and 4. And 5 were the ones my friend had. By the time Mega Man 6 came out, the Super Nintendo was out. Mega Man X was out, I think. This was very late. There's actually 2 versions of this. There's one with, I think, 2 labels of this one. This is like the first label, and there's one with, like, I think a bar or something. This is I like this game a lot. They added, like, some areas where you could go back in the stage and find bits of your rush armor. Like there was one with like the power armor where you punch stuff. There was a hover armor. And then you could go back and get like the parts by busting through walls and finding little secrets. You could find the hidden things in the stages, and that kind of added a lot. Soundtrack's still great. It's Mega Man, and they're all the Mega Man games on the NES I like. There's just some that, it depends on my mood. Like maybe I'm like at this time it's Mega Man 4. Maybe, oh yeah, Mega Man 5's great. There's not much more to say about Mega Man. I didn't talk about what the game is, because I mean, if you like NES games, or NES or any games from that era, you're gonna like Mega Man. If you like action platformers and you have an interest in action platformers. Metal Storm. This is a beat up label. This is such a unique looking game. I remember the Nintendo Power cover of this game being so cool. It just had this mech like clay. I forget the mech's name, but the gist of this game is the explosion when you get explode is so cool looking. It looks so cool. You can flip gravity by holding up and B, or is it A? B, up and B. No, up and A will flip your gravity. And you can go up on the walls, and you can do that to shoot. You can shoot up, down, left, right. And you can also get upgrades to shoot like a wave. You can get upgrades to like take another hit. And the stages are built around that gravity mechanic. It's so very cool. The music's great. Not a long game. It is difficult. It gets difficult. And there's also there's a harder mode, which I've never went through. But yeah, a cool game. This is one I wish they would bring back. It's IREM. I don't know who owns the rights to this now. Probably still IREM, but I don't know if they have any interest in bringing it back. This would be one that they should bring back for people. Put it on the Switch eShop or Switch thing. Remember Bob or whatever it is. Metroid. I never played Metroid as a kid. I played a little bit of Super Metroid in my friend's house. But played this, much later. Finally beat it around 38 or so. Did it without a map. So people always complain that, play Zero Mission, it's better. And Zero Mission's great, don't get me wrong. But there's something about plain Jane vanilla Metroid, not having that map. The world's not that big, so you can do it without mapping it. I've done it. And just that whole thing of being lost in this area, like it's all black, there's these weird enemies, it's the NES look to it, the sound, cute little Kraid is like a little tiny little sprite. Just this game has a cool look and sound to it. If you've heard bad things about Metroid, just play Zero Mission. Give the original Metroid a chance. It's I still think it's worth playing, even though there's Zero Mission out there. A very important game too. This is same engine as the Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus. Oh, Mickey Mouse Capades says Capcom, but this is actually a Hudson game that Capcom got the rights to publish. I like this game. It's not great. It has a cool soundtrack. So you get Mickey, you get a star, and that's your weapon. Then you get Minnie, and Minnie falls behind you and shoots when you shoot. And the thing is, like, it's not a long game, and there's a maze level, which I don't tend to love, but the soundtrack is really, really cool. And if you can get to the last, like, if you can get Minnie up there and get Mickey down, Minnie doesn't get hurt. She can fall into water when you jump, and if you miss a jump, she falls in the water. But she doesn't get hurt when she gets hit. So you can get her up there and just shoot, and she'll destroy the, like, peat. The last boss is kind of a little bit of a challenge. The last level is kind of mazy, but it's a cool game. I like Mickey Mouse Capades. It's nothing special, but it's okay. Oh, so I did mention these are all games I beat. Well, this is an exception here. I've never beaten Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I'm not great at Punch-Out, but it's a great game. One of the best. I don't have to say much about Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. It's like a puzzle game, and it tests your reaction and puzzle deduction on the spot, something I'm not great at. But I can usually get up to Mr. Sandman, and then I just don't know how to beat him. I've used the code to get to Tyson. I don't know if I've ever beaten him, but Punch-Out is such a cool game that's still fun today. And there's Super Punch-Out, there's Punch-Out Wii. They're all fun. But the first one is my favorite one. There's also Punch-Out, just regular Punch-Out 2 as well. that was released when they didn't have the Mike Tyson one. Oh boy, Mike Tyson license anymore. Oh boy, here's one that gets a bad rap, and I love. And I played it like renting it as a kid, but it wasn't until recently I beat it over the past few years. That's Mylon's Secret Castle. People always say it's too cryptic, blah blah blah. Yes, it is cryptic, but that's the point. So if you read the manual, they tell you everything about the game except one thing I will not let it get off is there you can push blocks to let doors appear. And until in the first main area, you have to push a block to make a door appear to buy what you need to buy. That is the bull crappy part of the game. They should have told you that because I had to like see that done to know what to do. Other than that, everything to do in the game can be explained in the manual. Um, this is no different than like say Goonies 2. Goonies 2 people say. I think Goonies 2 is a much more like confusing game to me than Mylon's Secret Castle. Now they're both very very confusing. But once you learn how to play the games, they get a lot easier. A lot of these games are like that, and a lot of that is in the manual. Um, if you've heard bad things about Mylon's Secret Castle but never played it, like give it a shot and then give it an honest shot, if you're curious about it. And I think you'll figure it out and be quite surprised by how good it is. Now I'm not saying it doesn't have its problems. It does, but despite those problems, like I mentioned, the one with the door, it's very very cool. Um, so yeah, in each room there's a honeycomb piece to upgrade your life. There's a key to get you out of the room, and there's also a shop where you have to buy the items to progress. So if you realize that, then all you're doing is shooting bubbles, and you know that hey, one of these play areas has that. Then there's only a finite places you can shoot. Um, so yeah, another thing I don't like is you can't continue until you beat the first boss. So a lot of people didn't realize that um, you can't continue until you beat the first boss, and getting to the first boss without finding that door is kind of tricky. A game I have a soft spot for. My mom used to play, I think, with me a lot. She didn't remember. I brought it up before. She didn't remember it, but I know we did. Monopoly. It's Monopoly. It's on NES. It's probably the best version of Monopoly I've ever played. I won't play Monopoly board game. If I had a chance, I'd play this over the Monopoly board game. Great sound samples. Pretty cool. Monsters in My Pocket, fun Konami game with a great soundtrack. Do 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 do. You can play as a vampire or a Frankenstein's monster. I was big into the Monster in My Pocket toys, which I gave to my nephew. I hope he still has them. Uh, if not, that's okay. But I had a lot of them. We used to trade them at school. And this game is like pretty cool. It's great sounding, great playing. It's perfectly fine, and it's there's a lot worse games on the NES. This is a pretty late game, not too late, but late, and it came with a Monster in My Pocket as well. Pretty cool. If you can fire this up on an emulator, give it a chance. It's pretty good. That leads into Monster Party. This is one I think my cousin had. Really weird game. If you ever get a chance to play, look up this game, like this cutscenes and stuff. Really strange game. There's like a big fried onion ring. There's a decaying spider that's dead. There's all kinds of weird things. Kind of interesting physics to it too. You have a baseball bat as a kid. You can shoot the projectiles back at the enemies, and depending on where you hit it, you can really hit it at a cool angle. There's like angles to it and stuff, like a pool cue or something. It gets pretty tough, but if you can get your Burt power, you fill up your Burt power. Burt's the monster. You can turn into a monster and you fly and can shoot a projectile. You save that for the boss. You can blow through it. The game. I want to replay this one again. I beat it once, but such a cool, unique game. I don't know if Japan ever got this game or not. I'm not sure. I don't think they did. And that's probably where I'm going to leave off for today. And we'll come back and we'll finish this up, or at least maybe get close to finishing it up. Okay, thanks.